In the last episode, we learned that just because you're hearing bulls one day doesn't mean that they're going to be bugling the next day. We had went from hearing several different bulls bugling to having a day where we saw multiple bulls but never heard a single bugle. And on that hunt, we also learned that it doesn't always pay to have a drop back caller, because I ended up calling in 3 bulls that were closer to me than to Ben, who was the shooter. After that hunt, Logan, Doug, and Grant left us, and we had a couple of really slow days. Then we went to a little bit of a different location to try to find some bucks and bulls.
Colin Miller.
Stopping down at the barn today, Colin.
We're headed in this morning. We're in the same general vicinity that we hunted with Rich, where we had the 6-point come in just on the edge of range there, and Rich didn't get a shot, and then later that day saw the big mule deer. There's a couple areas that I'd like to check out back in here. I've been in here before with Whitney one time. We were just walking this ridge top, and I noticed a bunch of rubs going across the top of this ridge that we're headed out. So if they're back in this area, maybe we can hear something bugling and make a move. That's the hope. The other hope is that we bump into a mule deer. We're gonna try to focus around some of these high points. I think that's where they're bedding for the most part. So we're just gonna work our way back to some high points and look for deer and elk. Bear too. Colin, there's a tiny buck up here. I don't care. Okay. How far? Oh, 38. Hardhorn. There's 2 of them. Come up here. They kind of got us. Okay. See these 2 right here? Yep. They're running, Ben. Yeah. Sorry. No, I think they got us right as we got off that trail. They were really small. Definitely better than what we've seen recently, though. Oh yeah. Big saddle right here. I think in the backside of that we should sneak up to. You look over, see if there's deer, and then we'll call off the end of that. Yeah, I thought he was right there. Get to some big cover. Zach, listen back there. Dang it. That's alright. Hey, that just goes to show that we can pull this off. Yeah. Keep that confidence up.
I had a bad feeling when we were there. I was like, I thought he was this way. He must have just came.
See, here's what happened. I called, and then you called, and I immediately heard him coming up to the saddle. I'm just like, I'm afraid to even move. I can hear the elk so close. And then and then he bugled, and I was just like,
When he came up like that, was he kind of walked onto you?
I don't think he ever looked at me.
He ever saw me. But our wind's going right there. So he started leaving. You cow called and he came and took a look. But he didn't make it.
Did you ever have a shot at him?
No. I shot it when he came around this rock. I could have shot his butt. His butt was right there. Right there.
It's crazy how close you can be so many times. And see if it's like, if he bugles one more time, then we just know to make the shift. But luckily Colin was like, did you hear that? And I turned my head and immediately it was like antlers hit the tree. And I was like, yeah, over here.
You saw him right away.
I didn't see him, I just heard the antlers hit the tree and I was like, well, that's what that is. Let's just use that as a positive learning experience now. We gonna get one yet. So we just decided that we were gonna start covering some more ground, and right when we did that, we popped up over a hill, got one to respond and called him in, and obviously didn't pull it off, but it was encouraging that they are bugling somewhere. We're gonna keep doing what we just did, just try to cover ground fast the rest of the day. We've kind of been tiptoeing a little bit the last few days just because a lot of this stuff that we're hunting is pretty open, but we figure if we cover ground, maybe we'll just bump into the one that's bugling, and we just did. So hopefully if we stick with that strategy, we can get another one going. That was a nice one, and looking back on it, there's a number of things that we could have done differently. He just circled completely around us, and we'll just keep chipping away. Hopefully we can get another one to respond here soon.
Look where I spotted him. I still don't see him.
Oh, Lordy.
I would have seen it. We just took a different route.
All right. Everybody take the next 20 minutes. Other side. Are you serious? Dude, is that it?
After we called that bull in, our confidence was definitely high, but we never saw or heard another elk the rest of the day. And that was also the last day that Colin and Keith were going to be hunting with us. So when we got back to camp that night, we had to make the tough decision of whether we were going to keep hunting in that same area and try to fill Ben's tag, or if we were going to go to meet up with my dad and hunt for a few days.
In 2020, Doug took a whole weekend hunting on our tags.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or I mean, filmed us.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I wish I had more time to also go up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go up there tomorrow too. I'm not worried about filling the tag that I have.
I don't think that that's ever a thing. I think it's just a little
heavy on your heart.
I mean, kind of. It's like I've like really was dead set that like you guys would fill these two tags. Like there's never really a doubt in my mind, and like we certainly did a lot of like cool stuff still. Like had a lot of really sweet experiences.
Like we go back into the areas that were hot, and they might be hot a few days later.
Maybe get a fresh perspective with Doug. Come back here with all, just loose after we kill one there.
So ultimately we made the decision that we were going to go pick up my brother, hunt with my dad for a few days, and then we were going to come back for one final day. We were hoping that the action with Doug was going to be a lot better, but those hunts continued to be slow for us, and when Doug went back to work, Ben and I decided we were going to try one more time to fill his tag.
Heard one so far. Really? It could be like 2 miles away. So it's just like to move down the trail a little bit and listen from a different angle. Did you hear anything? No, it's moving around a lot though. Spy. I think what you meant to say is Texas 11 won.
Thank you, B. Wilkins. kind of browsing around in the oak brush. Yeah. We heard bugles last night in this direction. Came out to the end of these rocks where we haven't been. Usually we get up to this ridge and go that way. And Zach said, let's come this way and see what we can glass and hear. It's pretty windy, so we might not be hearing everything, but Zach glassed a bull. It's actually pretty easy to see with your bare eyes. Zach looked down and saw a spike working down this hillside. He's just been meandering through the oak brush for the past 15 minutes and seems to be slightly working downhill. So when I walked up to the trail, I definitely heard a bugle, like in this direction. We haven't really hunted in this zone at all. Keep moving up here, I might spot another something else. Yeah. There's tons of tracks on this trail, or not tons, but super fresh. You just have to believe, man. I tell you. Hey, Ben. Where do you think he went? Big bull tracks right there. He just bugled again somewhere over here. Bugled again. I've heard him do it 2 times at least. Big tracks right here. I think he's right up in there. He's right where, pretty much where we pointed at. Yeah. Heck yeah, buddy. Heck yeah, buddy. Heck yeah. Follow these tracks right up there and shoot him, I guess. Straight up the valley. He is in here. Heck yeah, brother. Wind's starting to just go like that. I'm afraid it's gonna start going up that sunny hillside. There he is. Just get up and over that finger. It's the safest move. So that bull bugled a couple times on that side of the drainage. We've got a pin where we both think he is, probably 250 to 350 yards out. What we're gonna do now is drop behind this point that we're standing on, get up in elevation, try to get on his level or like one contour above. Just work our way in. It's very calm. There's not much breeze, but get up on that level and then see how the wind's playing. We've moved in about as close as we're gonna get. There's a bull bedded on that point over there. And when we got up to the top of this ridge, we heard one bugle somewhere in where we're sitting right now. So we're thinking we're within a couple hundred yards of both of these bulls. Assuming there's cows somewhere in the mix too. I'm gonna try to do a little cow calling. Maybe throw some raking in. If one of them starts bugling a lot, I think they'll go back and forth and start a little frenzy. We'd like to be in the middle of it. Is that him? Yep. Exactly where we were talking. it plays out. I feel like any second we'll be able to see legs moving over there. Haven't heard anything on to our left here in a while. I think we can definitely get closer now. Wind got a little squirrely on us earlier, but it's pulling back up the hill now. The sun's coming back out. That bull over there sounds like a big one, but 190 yards. What I was thinking though is that if we just come at it on his contour and just call him around that little ditch, I mean, we can get 80 yards up. I think we're in the bubble. We start raking. I think he'll make the move. Silent chuckling intermezzo. Just now, the breeze started to pick back up, and it's favorable. It's going uphill again. Been kind of waiting to make that move for a little bit of sound cover and a little bit of. There he is. So, anyways, we're gonna make a move like this. Try to come at him on his contour. Get real close.
so far. Bummed that the time with friends is coming to an end. Couldn't really ask for much better action today as far as getting on elk. We just could never close the gap. Having the opportunity to go is pretty awesome, so we've had a good time.
Well, it's about the end of shooting light. We ended up leaving that bedding area and just starting to work downhill and cut some fresh tracks. It seemed like they worked their way down the mountain, probably way ahead of us. Made our way down the hill calling and didn't hear anything, so that'll wrap up the night. I mean, we got within bow range of a bull. Just a lot of brush in between.
Is there anything that you would do differently?
Probably try to just make that move earlier. One thing I wanted to do today was just be as aggressive as possible. Kind of seemed like they just worked off, and in hindsight, I wonder what would have happened if as soon as they went out of eyesight, we just called. Just cow called.
I thought that too.
In my mind, I'm like, we don't have cover, but like, it would have been worth a shot.
I know, and after minutes went by, I'm like, Ben blends in so well. And the wind was perfect. We should have done it.
Well, we've got a easy money walk out of here.
Up and over that. And
up and over and down, and then back and up and back down. Just watch your step and don't step on slick logs. We'll make it up there at some point. Thanks for running around with me.
Thanks for going with me.
It's freaking cool.
So this hunt is going to conclude the first trip of September with Ben, Keith, Colin, and Rich. But the elk series isn't quite over yet. After these guys left, Cole came out, there was a little bit of season left, and we went into a totally different area. There was a lot of hunting pressure in there, and it took a little bit of work, but eventually we found elk, tried some new tactics, and ended up getting them in close. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a little bit of disappointment and sadness that came with the end of that trip, something that we look forward to every year. And going into the season, we obviously had high hopes, but we worked as a team, had a blast, and that's really all you can ask for. And also, I think that Ben did a great job being aggressive on this hunt. And that's one of the main things that I feel like can be a struggle for guys like us at THP who have a background in deer and turkey hunting. A lot of times in those hunts, we're waiting for them to come to us. Whether we're in a stand, waiting for a deer to come down the trail, or we're calling to a turkey in a setup, a lot of times we're not being super aggressive in the final moments. But on the other hand, one of the things that's interesting about both of the hunts that were in this video is we were pretty dang aggressive, and it's pretty surprising what you can get away with. So the whole point of bringing this up is if you're in a similar situation and you're new to elk hunting, keep in mind that being extremely aggressive may feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, but it might work out in your favor, especially in a situation where you've got a bull that's hung up and you're in thick cover. In the first hunt, Colin and I can hear the bull coming towards us, well away from where Ben and Keith are facing, and at the last second, those guys make a quick move right up to the rock, and almost get a shot before the bull winded us. Then in this last hunt, even though the bull went quiet, we just went to where we last heard him, and we were moving through oak brush. It felt like we were in the wide open, but I just looked up, caught movement, and there was 2 elk right in front of us that had no idea that we were there. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that you can get away with anything and you should be moving all over the place, but when I look back on some of the failed hunts we've had over the years, one of the things that is pretty consistent about them is that we could have been more aggressive, especially when there was a bull that was hung up and there was some thick vegetation between us and him. It just seems like elk can't see quite as well as deer and turkey, and I think if that's your background, it's going to be easy to just assume that they're going to pick you off every little move you make. So just keep that in mind. Maybe being a little more aggressive will work out in your favor. But just to wrap up this series, I'm really proud of everybody. We worked together and we had a great time. So I'm super thankful to have friends that are as excited about going elk hunting as I am. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.